NFL offseason is officially upon us, and that means all eyes are turning towards the NFL draft. And to kick things off, we've got the East-West Shrine Game taking place out in Florida this weekend. Now, typically, prospects who attend this showcase, the first of many all-star college games, so to speak, those of either a lower profile who have had injuries, setbacks, or maybe problems off the field, or just maybe need a platform to raise their draft stock or get them a Senior Bowl invite later on. Guys like Brandon Brooks and Devontae Maddox have notably performed very well there if you're a fan of the Philadelphia Eagles, and that's the team we're focusing on today. The Eagles have got personnel out there scouting players, so I took it upon myself to break down the roster, start my work on this year's draft, and find 10 players who may interest the team by the time the NFL draft rolls around. So who should the Eagles be looking at this weekend? It's time to dive in. But before we do, guys, as I mentioned a few videos ago, our subscriber goal for this year is 30,000. So if you're not part of our community yet, we would love for you to be part of it. We've got a Discord server, we have giveaways. Talking of which, if this video gets 300 likes, we will give away a Philly Sports Network t-shirt. And for every 1,000 subscribers we get, we will be doing a giveaway of a PSN hoodie. But the fun doesn't end there. All you've got to do to enter is leave a like and drop a comment down below showing which player you're going to be watching in this weekend's East-West Shrine Game. Right, let's kick things off with a wide receiver. I know this is a prominent need for the Eagles. It's one where fans are very intently watching, knowing how deep this class is. You've got guys like Henry Ruggs, T. Higgins, and Jerry Jeudy in the first round, and it's a very deep class with names like Juwan Johnson from Oregon, formerly of Penn State, also competing at this weekend's event. But the Eagles require a very specific type of wide receiver. Don't get me wrong, there's a very strong chance the Eagles draft one, but if you're talking WR1, you've got two identical players in Alshon Jeffrey and JJ Arcega-Whiteside, so that in an ideal universe sums up your WR1 spot. At wide receiver 2, you've got Deshaun Jackson, so you could use some speedy depth behind him. There's a very strong chance Nelson Aguilar won't be returning, leaving the slot position wide open for debate. Is it going to be Greg Ward, or is it going to be someone new? Enter Missouri's Jonathan Johnson. 5'10", 180 pounds, and in my opinion is the perfect fit for what the Eagles are going to be losing in Nelson Aguilar. Someone that has a great deal of speed, is very, very precise in his route running, and can cut on a dime. There are so many plays in his film where you can just see him sell the vertical so well with his head and shoulders and just stop and immediately drive in the other direction. He is an absolutely electric route runner. Also, given the nature of Missouri's offense, he was used on plenty of options and pitches and jet sweeps and screens, and that's exactly what this West Coast offense is built on. He had a great junior campaign, but as a senior, he was hampered by injury, so that unfortunately is going to play a role, especially given how the Eagles are trying to veer away from players with an injury history. I love his play, and the Eagles do have a need for speed. He wouldn't quite be a wide receiver 2 due to his size, but it at least gives you a speedy option in the nickel if the Eagles don't want to go out and find themselves a big slot receiver, but we'll get to that a bit later. Second on this list is cornerback Luck Barque, and if you're familiar with me or my work, you know that A, I love cornerbacks, and B, when I evaluate them, I'm a sucker for two things. 1, aggressiveness at the catch point, and 2, physicality at the line where you can see that then stem all the way down the route. Someone that is not afraid to get aggressive, get their hands on their receiver, and show that they're not letting them go down the field without a fight. Barque has both of those in buckets, and that's reflected by his numbers. He had 16 pass breakups and 9 interceptions for San Diego State this year. The guy is a ball hawk, and at 6'1", 175 pounds, he's rangy, he's lengthy, he's got nice speed, fluid hip, and a willingness to get involved in the run game. Now, he may not be a CB1 or a first round selection, but I do think that the Eagles already have a young core of cornerbacks. They're not going to be going out there trying to draft a first rounder, especially with free agency and draft windows opening. They're more than likely going to try and find themselves a veteran to come and stabilize it and see what they have in that group. If there is someone like Avonte Maddox or Sidney Jones, before going out and putting even more draft capital into a position where that hasn't really turned into actual production. So with that in mind, I think the Barque should be a day 2 to day 3 selection with a lot of upside. He fits my ideal role of a cornerback, someone that's tall, has a wide receiver background, and knows for the ball, and more importantly, can read and react so quickly. He's so fluid in his movement, it's great to watch. I would love to see what this guy can do at the next level. Next up is linebacker Shaq Quarterman out of Miami. Now, this guy is just a total brute, and we know the Eagles are yet to try and find a real long-term replacement for Jordan Hicks. 6'1", 241 pounds, he looks every single bit of that frame, and that's reflected in the fact he's as durable as anything. He set the school record for the most consecutive starts with 52, and he earned a 77.8 grade from Pro Football Focus. As a run defender, he reads situations so quickly. Like, the second he diagnoses that ball, he shoots the gap, he's strong in pursuit, he can shed blocks very, very quickly and get to the running back. He is an absolute freight train restraint when pushing downhill. The downside is that zone coverage, he tends to be a bit like Nate Gary in the fact that he'll be coaxed down by the cornerback, drawn to the line of scrimmage, only for a spot route or a slant to beat him over the top, and it's a little bit painful to see sometimes. He's a tackling machine, there is no doubting it, and again, as a run defender, someone in the box in man coverage, he's excellent. He's definitely a developmental talent, someone that could be day one potential if he falls into the right system or tests very well athletically. He's hard to wash out of play, wraps up ball carriers securely, which is something the Eagles missed last year, and more than anything, is gonna bring some real nastiness to that defense. Garrett Marino, defensive tackle out of UAB. I love this guy. Now, mainly because I think he reminds me a lot of Malik Jackson. Now, he's about 3 inches shorter, but the actual build is around the same, and that's someone that can play a 3-tech and a 5-tech. Marino's 6'2", 290 pounds, but he moves like a defensive end. That first step he's got is absolutely electric. The bend off the line of scrimmage is phenomenal. He's got fantastic hands and an array of moves at his disposal. He's got exceptional bend. Like, if he gets pushed outside by a tackle, instead of trying to spin back across, he will try and bend his way outside and rip his way through. It's really fun to watch. He had 6.5 sacks and 12.5 tackles for a loss last year. Now, I do think this is a very raw skill set. He needs some counter moves. He needs to lean some more on that raw strength. If he's going to be a defensive tackle, 290 is not really an ideal playing weight. He's a bit undersized, has a lot of length, but he lacks that core functional strength and can get knocked back fairly easily. So it'd be nice to see him bulk up a little bit if he does want to play DT, or maybe play that hybrid between a 3-tech and a 5-tech and really sting some of those interior guards. Like, use that athleticism, that electricity, and that sheer burst off that first step to get into the backfield, or at least distract from someone like Fletcher Cox. And while we're talking defensive line, it's hard not to mention this young man. Alex Highsmith out of Charlotte, ranked 4th in the nation when it came to sacks this year, and 5th in tackles for a loss. He's 6'4", 242 pounds, and again, does lack that desired length. He's not quite as long or as rangy as some of the other defensive ends. He's not as stocky as some of the more powerful rushers in this class, and that is going to be a knock on him. But his production can't be matched. He reminds me of almost a soccer player doing step-overs when he tries to rush outside. He'll take that extra step outside and just cut back across the face of the offensive tackle to get inside, as opposed to relying on hand movements where he knows the power of those tackles may limit him. He plays to his strength, which is raw athleticism and speed along the outside. He does have some really efficient swipes to his game. His hand movement is typically pretty good. Again, it comes down to that lack of size. He tends to get pushed back. He can get washed out of plays fairly easily. When he's on and he has the right kind of leverage, he is absolutely electric. When he's not, that can be a problem. This is a great avenue to show that and what he's capable of. To sleepers, and I swear, UCF for me, I always seem to go to and fall in love with a cornerback. This year, it's Nivelle Clark. He's a day 3 pick right now, maybe 6th, 7th round, but I genuinely think he can boost his profile right now. He has got everything you could want in a cornerback. 6'1", 187 pounds, so again, one of the taller corners in this class, but he is so aggressive at the catch point, so instinctive when it comes to breaking down on those routes, and had 24 passes defensed in 2 years. He is just lethal around the catch point. You don't want to throw his way, but better yet, because of the scheme that UCF played, he played a lot of press coverage, comfortable holding his own outside. It's not going to be dropping him down into deep water. He's got that natural feistiness, that aggressiveness to his play, really fluid hips when it comes to transitioning and changing direction. Again, skill set's a bit raw. He's not exactly going to be a Christian Fulton, but I do think this guy's got a lot of upside. He'll have my attention this weekend. Next up is Malcolm Perry. Now, you may know this man as the quarterback out of Navy, but believe it or not, he's actually trying out at wide receiver this weekend. Now, where have we heard that before, Eagles fans? A quarterback at college, wide receiver at the NFL. Perry had 2,000 rushing yards this year, so he's definitely got the frame. 5'9", 190 pounds. He's definitely going to be destined to be a slot receiver should he really go in with this. But we know he's got the intelligence to handle that very unique offense that Navy runs. So maybe, just maybe, this is a blessing in disguise. Can he handle his own against someone like a Juwan Johnson in the East-West Shrine game? Only time will tell, but my eyes are going to be on him just to see how he does. Defensive tackle Khalil Davis is a monster. He is violent, he's nasty, he's tenacious, and you just love to see that grit in a defensive tackle. Now again, he is a little bit undersized. He doesn't have a lot of length at his disposal, but he does have some ferocious hands and a lot of raw power. He's got some nice bend to his game. 11 tackles for a loss and 8 sacks in 2019 speak for themselves. As a run defender, he can get washed away, and for the Eagles defense and what they need, this may not be an ideal fit, but if you want someone as a situational pass rusher, he's at least worth a look given the lack of depth that there's going to be at the position this year. We're talking small school sleepers. I love Dante Olsen, someone that has led the entire FCS in tackles 3 years straight. I mean, the guy bursts to the ball. He's clearly an FBS player playing FCS level. It's unreal. It's like watching Cristiano Ronaldo take on Ipswich Town. He reads the quarterback size so well. He shoots gaps explosively and is an absolute freight train in tackling. Now, again, there's going to be that natural concern of going FCS to FBS to NFL, and this is a perfect platform to show that he can hang with the big boys. If he does well here, then he's going to go a long way. And the 2019 Buchanan Award winner is going to have a very high ceiling and hopefully one that's kick-started with a good performance here that could lead to a Senior Bowl invite and a strong pro day down the road. But this is a linebacker that just flies around the field, and he's got all the makings of, at the very least, a special teams ace at the next level. And finally, quarterback James Morgan. We know the Eagles want to get back to a scenario where they draft quarterbacks every single year, and after Clayton Dawson didn't exactly plan out as expected, James Morgan could be the best fit here. 6'4", 213 pounds, he's got everything you could want in a quarterback. Cannon for an arm, nice poise in the pocket, plenty of mobility. He's fairly accurate. He had a bit of a down year this year, but that can be attributed to other factors. I think Morgan's a really solid option for someone like an Eastern Stick out of NDSU last year, and that's probably where he's going to be lining up to be, like a 5th, 6th round pick as a project QB3. He could fit the Eagles system well coming out of that pro-style offense. Let's see what you be watching this weekend. Who's perked your eyes? Let me know down in the comments. From myself, Liam Jenkins. You can follow me on Twitter at Liam Jenkins PSN. I'll see you soon.